Just ahead on CTV News. It's Pride Month. The County Council shows support for the LGBTQ+ community. And
a year of special elections in Prince George's County is finally coming to a close. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have that story and more coming up on CTV News.
Plus, we hear candidates' messages to voters ahead of Election Day. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for June 2nd. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Marquette Shepard. Thanks for joining us.
Well, council members on the Prince George's County Council are bringing awareness to Pride Month with their second annual Pride flag raising event. CTV News was there. On the second day of Pride Month, the Prince George's County Council Vice Chair Crystal Oriata hosted a Pride flag raising ceremony. The second annual event highlighted the work the council is doing to support the LGBTQ community and the leadership behind it, a duo of LGBTQ leaders guiding the council's efforts.
On a personal note, it's an honor to be a member of this community. As a member of the LGBTQ community and as chair of this council, it's been a real privilege to work with other community elected officials.
Community members, allies, and local leaders turned out in support to celebrate the progress the county has made.
I'm so glad that they're still continuing because it's needed, because oftentimes growing up, we didn't have these spaces to feel comfortable in.
I think it's really important that this is happening here today in Prince George's County, because not everyone in the county, not everyone in the country is where this county is right now, where this moment is right now.
And for the first time in the county budget, Oriata says resources were passed to ensure that the community is getting what they need.
The most new cases of HIV and AIDS historically have always been in the south central part of the county, but most of the resources when it comes to HIV and AIDS with the health department have been on the north part of the county. So for the first time, we're going to have 3 days a week where there'll be resources on the south part of the county. So we're just trying to be very intentional by making sure the resources are where they're needed the most.
Meanwhile, tomorrow is Election Day for the Prince George's County Executive and the District 5 seat.
And CTV's Bryce Parker has more on the latest of this year's elections.
Tomorrow, a year of special elections in Prince George's County will come to a close, and the way that voters have chose to hit the polls this cycle is evidence that fatigue is starting to set in. It all started with the departure of at-large councilmember Mel Franklin, and it ends with the crowning of a new county executive and District 5 councilmember. Last week, voter turnout exceeded 60,000 people, but lining up at the polls seemed to not be a viable option for most voters. Only 700 people casted ballots in person on the first 2 days of early voting. Rainy weather was also likely a deterrent for in-person voters, as the vast majority elected to use the drop box. County residents, now having visited the polls up to 6 times in the last 12 months, have continued to show that voting is a priority, but they are ready for their much-needed break.
It's nice to get it over, but voting is important. Normally I vote on Election Day, but since I'm available, today's good.
Reporting in Lake Arbor, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Now, one of the most important election races in the county is winding down.
That's right. It's special election seat for county executive. Registered voters will decide if they want a Democrat or a Republican to be the next leader of Prince George's County. And CTV's Katara Jones has more on the two candidates.
Our county executive and council must work together collaboratively to set priorities. Some of those priorities have to be to look at what's going on at the federal level and determining how it's impacting us here locally.
The county needs a leader instead of another politician. In my first 180 days, my goal is to do a line-by-line review of each expenditure of the budget. My goal is to save 2% from that.
In the race to be the next county executive of Prince George's County, voters have two choices. They can either pick Democrat and current state's attorney Aisha Braveboy or Republican Jonathan White.
Look at how much money is going out. Like, for example, each councilman gave out $200,000 last year. If we cut that by 50%, that should save us $1 million right there. So basically, we need to look at where the money's going and make sure that each expenditure has a correct justification going out.
Anyone coming in is going to have to really audit the county government's current spending. We have to ensure that we are spending efficiently and effectively. Certainly, we have to prioritize education and public safety.
The next leader of Prince George's will have a mountain of issues to tackle, such as the impact of the federal layoffs to the county economy and the recently adopted $5.8 billion budget. Another issue that's been on the heart of many residents is the lack of affordable housing in the county.
I work with developers to offer incentives to developers who offer at least 10% of affordable housing to each development. Also, we need to repurpose some of the abandoned buildings in our community to make them affordable apartments.
The thing that I talked about is increasing the number of units that we have available, but the way we do that is to build where it's smart to build in our existing communities that are established communities where we have infrastructure already, as well as around our metro stations. We still have the most undeveloped metro stations in the region. So these are areas where we can actually build density.
Whoever wins this special election will be filling the remainder of former County Executive Angela Alsobrooks' term, as she left her seat after being elected to the U.S. Senate. Now, Brave Boy has an advantage over White, as a large portion of county voters tend to vote Democrat. But in this special election race, anything is possible. Katira Jones, CTV News.
Meanwhile, residents in District 5 will decide who will represent them on the county council. Democrat Shayla Adams Stafford and Republican Fred Price Jr. are both vying to be District 5's council member. Adams Stafford is no stranger to politics. She recently served on the county school board. She wants to see the county increase its commercial tax base. Price, her opponent, wants to ensure that the Hospital Hill land does ultimately get developed. If elected, he would be the oldest person serving on the council.
Seniors need, like transportation. I've heard transportation is wrong. I'd have someone to teach them how to use Metro Access, how to use the bus and that. How to use your car now, because they no longer accept money. I go to a place and they turn, I couldn't go to the Bowie basketball game last week. Well, I ended up going because they don't accept money.
We need to diversify our zoning codes so that we can have more mixed-use facilities and areas. And as you think about development in that area, that's really going to be sort of the entry point into Prince George's County, as it sits there right on 295. And so we need to have development that the people want. And that would mean really working with the community there to see what types of stores that they need, helping to get enough density there to have enough foot traffic so we attract the type of stores that we want.
The upcoming election will determine who fills the at-large seat previously held by Jolene Ivey.
A suspect is now in custody for a fatal shooting in Camp Springs early Friday morning. 18-year-old Christian Okubo is charged with the first-degree murder of 23-year-old Anthony Bullock. The investigation shows Okubo and Bullock knew each other. The shooting happened in broad daylight at a shopping center located at the 7000 block of Allentown Road. Officers found Bullock suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Okubo is being held on a no-bond status. And a Maryland federal judge slams the Trump administration for not complying with her order. U.S. District Judge Stephanie Gallagher ordered the administration to report to her the steps it has taken to facilitate the return of a man only identified as Christian, the second wrongly deported man sent to a Salvadorian prison. Gallagher criticized the Department of Homeland Security, saying, quote, defendants' untimely response is the functional equivalent of we haven't done anything and don't intend to. Gallagher was appointed by President Trump in 2018.
And the U.S. Supreme Court will not hear a challenge to Maryland's assault weapons ban. The state law banning semi-automatic rifles was passed after the 2012 mass shooting in Sandy Hook, Connecticut that killed 20 children and 6 adults. A split Supreme Court declined today to hear the challenge, with Justices Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas, saying they would have taken the case. Thomas wrote the ban likely goes against the Second Amendment. 10 states and the District of Columbia have similar assault weapons bans, including New York and California. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Marquette Shepard. Still to come, new rules are coming to WMATA metro stations.
After the break, find out what those rules are and how they'll make your ride safer. We'll be right back.
We hear the stories of people forced to abandon their home. The stories of people whose dreams have been swept away, or their lives left hanging by a thread. Or whose worlds have been blasted apart. Although the stories repeat themselves, each person's experience is unique as they are. And whether it's care or community that people need, we're here to help them live a new chapter, to embrace what makes them unique, be a lifeline to the most vulnerable.
Out! Out! Everybody out! Come on!
Good job. Under 2 minutes.
Keep your loved ones safe from home fires. Practice a 2-minute drill until it's part of your routine. And test your smoke alarms monthly.
In America, millions of families are facing hunger. After rent and power, I can get groceries. It's sad to say food comes last. Anna from Texas. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. Body cam footage has been released in the April police-involved shooting that led to the death of 44-year-old Avon Buckner Jr. The incident took place at the National Harbor when officers from the Prince George's County Police Department encountered Buckner following a reported shooting or cutting in the area. Buckner, holding a knife at the time of the encounter, approached the responding officers after not complying with verbal commands before one of the officers discharged their weapon.
A Prince George's County man is in custody for charges related to child pornography. 41-year-old Edwin Olivar is charged with several counts of possession of unlawful images of children, accessing and viewing it, and causing the production. Through an investigation with Maryland State Police, Olivar was identified as receiving pictures depicting child pornography on his cell phone in December. Last week, police served a warrant at Olivar's home in Beltsville, where he was arrested without incident.
And Laurel police need your help finding this man. They have opened an investigation into him after reports of him inappropriately touching women in public places. He's described as a tall man with a thin build, usually wearing a mask, and police urge residents to stay vigilant and be aware of their surroundings. Anyone with information is asked to contact Laurel Police at 301-498-0092 or at the email right there on your screen.
Well, Metro's new ban against violent and sexual offenders begins this week. The ban is part of Metro's new passenger conduct rule, where if someone commits one of these crimes against a rider, employee, or the property itself, the following bans will take effect. A first offense constitutes a 45-day ban. A second offense constitutes a 90-day ban, and a third offense is a 365-day ban. The former policy only carried a ban of 24 hours. And of the 849 bills passed by the Maryland General Assembly this session, 83 went into effect on June 1st.
That's right. CTV's Byron Scott takes a look at a few of them.
Thank you for this bill, and thank you for the leadership in making this happen. One of the most high-profile pieces of legislation that went into effect yesterday, House Bill 1378, that measure overhauls the Child Victims Act, which went into effect 2 years ago. Essentially, it caps the amount sexual abuse victims can receive. The amount survivors of abuse in public agencies can collect has been lowered from $890,000 to $400,000. Payments from private institutions would drop from $1.15 million to $700,000. Supporters say the 2023 version of the bill could have left local and state governments on the hook for billions of dollars in liability. Looking to create a safer transit system, a new law now bans someone accused of assaulting an MTA transit operator from riding on the system, at least while the agency convenes a work group to establish a rider code of conduct. On the energy front, the Next Generation Energy Act will in part credit each household in Maryland on average $80. It will be divided between bills next month and January of 2026. More speed cameras are coming to I-83 in Baltimore City.
And as you see, we finish it off with a nice fizzy little kick.
Also in effect, a bill naming Orange Crush as the official state cocktail, and chromite, which is used to strengthen steel, the official state mineral.
Other bills passed by the Assembly go into effect on July 1st or October 1st. And starting today, the State Highway Administration is beginning roadway improvements along Route 301. The Crane Highway project starts from the Charles County line to the 301 ramp over Brandywine. It consists of curb and gutter repair and installing new traffic barriers and pavement markings. Work will be performed between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekdays, and the speed limit will be lowered to 45 miles per hour. The improvements cost nearly $7 million and should be complete by spring of 2026.
At Representative Jim Clyburn's annual fish fry in Columbia, the spotlight wasn't just on the fried fish, it was on two rising stars, Maryland Governor Wes Moore and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Both drew big crowds and plenty of 2028 speculation, but made it clear they're not running for president, at least not yet. Moore told reporters anyone talking about 2028 isn't taking 2025 seriously. Still, their presence at this must-stop Democratic event has some watching closely.
And still to come on CTV News, a new index is ranking the most expensive states.
After the break, find out what factors were considered and where Maryland ranks. Stay with us.
Most hiring algorithms would scream me out.
Some bosses couldn't see me as a leader.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper. I've been running code as long as I've been able to reach a keyboard.
This is what I do. It's second nature for me, coordinating 100 details at once.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
I sold them on my skills.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
My magic is
analytics and empathy. That's how I'm getting clients. You have to have the confidence in yourself to show up and defy the odds. I'm more than who I am on paper.
I never got a college degree. And today, I'm the CEO of my own company. People want to tell me I'm one in a million, when actually I'm one of millions. Stars are all around us. It's time for them to shine.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Bowie police are warning residents to exercise caution after euthanizing a raccoon on Sunday. Officers received reports of the animal displaying abnormal behavior. It was located on Mitchellville Road. The raccoon is now being tested for rabies. They urge anyone who has come in contact with the animal to visit a medical center for testing.
And if you live near a golf course, you could be getting an increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease. A study by the Journal of the American Medical Association uncovered that Marylanders living near golf courses are at an increased risk due to pesticides used on the grass. Experts say you can call your local golf course, find out what days they spray pesticides, and stay indoors on those days. You should also consider using a carbon water filter to reduce contamination.
Maryland has been ranked the 5th most expensive state according to bill pay service Doxo's Cost of Bills Index. The index broke down comparative household costs across the U.S., focusing on common bill categories such as mortgage, rent, auto loans, and more. The state ranks number 5, trailing behind California, Hawaii, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. The least expensive state ranked in the U.S. by the index is West Virginia, which came in 44% below the national median.
And county soul food staple Carolina Kitchen hosted a VIP grand opening this weekend. Sea and Soul, the newest addition to the Carolina Kitchen family, redefines Southern cuisine by blending traditional home-style dishes with seafood favorites. The event featured a fashion show, live performances by local bands, and complimentary samples. And what's new for the location? Well, we caught up with one VIP guest and founder of Carolina Kitchen, Lance London, to discuss expanding in Prince George's.
You know, Lance does have a Carolina Kitchen in District 2. I'm very proud in Hyattsville at University Town Center, and we're expanding that.
There's a lot of African Americans here in Prince George's County. They're entrepreneurs, doing wonderful things, and kind of leading the way, showing the country that, you know what, if we can do it, you can do it too. So, and I love it here. I've been here all my life, and I'm going to keep on building here in Prince George's. It's a lot of room to keep building too here in Prince George's County, but we are sharing it in Richmond and a couple other cities around the country, so we're excited about it.
And if you missed the VIP grand opening event, there will be another special event this Thursday. For more information, visit their Instagram at Official Carolina Kitchen. And still to come on CTV News,
Simon Buggs is here with our Monday sports page.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. And coming up on your Monday sports page, Commander Center Tyler Biotis touches on the team's O-line ahead of the upcoming season. That story and more after the break. Stay right there.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
It's cancer.
My opponent is completely disregarding almost half of my arguments which I responded to.
Communities must step up
Laws
and
alone
protest
cannot
against this
stop the
normalizing.
bullying.
Well, I completely disagree.
Point of inquiry, do you guys even realize that the #1 killer of children and teens are gun injuries?
You're probably starting to realize now, this is not a debate.
there is no adult in this earth that wants children to die.
I worry for my kids.
All right, everybody, go ahead and grab a seat because your Monday sports page is here. Now it's an exciting time for Commanders fans like myself, as the team has made some very good moves during the offseason to make a potential Super Bowl run this coming season. One particular area Washington has improved is along the offensive line, trading for Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil back in March and drafting tackle Josh Connerly out of Oregon. CTV Sports caught up with one of the leaders of the O-line recently in center Tyler Biadasz, and the one-time Pro Bowler expressed the importance of making sure this group plays as one while also being an even better version of themselves in 2025.
The better you are with one another, especially for O-line, like you're a unit. And that goes for all 11 on the offense too, but obviously the O-line is the ones that are working together probably the most in regards of combination, or whether it be pass pro or run game. So, that's at a forefront all the time. And just, obviously looking back at what we did last year, areas we can improve, and obviously we have strengths too, and just to keep those and raising the standards of that, but also making those improvements to where we need to improve.
OTAs will continue for the team this week until June 6th. Meanwhile, Hyattsville native Francis Tiafoe made headlines over the weekend as the 27-year-old advanced to the quarterfinal round of the French Open after defeating Daniel Altmaier of Germany last night. This is the first time in Tiafoe's career he has made the quarterfinal round of the tournament. The Prince George's County product will match up next against Lorenzo Musetti of Italy tomorrow. Congratulations, Francis, and good luck. And in soccer news, the Washington Spirit announced earlier today that assistant coach Adrian Gonzalez will be promoted to head coach on July 18th. This comes after the team's previous head coach, Jonathan Giraldez, was named the new head coach of a soccer team in France. Gonzalez joined the team in February of 2024, and during his time as interim head coach, he has led Washington to a 10-4-1 record. Gonzalez and the rest of the team will take the field next against the North Carolina Courage on Sunday. And sticking with sports news from the nation's capital, the Washington Mystics fell to the New York Liberty over the weekend, 85-63. Washington will try and bounce back in their game against the Indiana Fever tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And speaking of basketball, in case you missed it, NBA fans, we finally have our finals matchup. Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers will go up against this year's MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 1 will be held in OKC on Thursday. Man, this is going to be a good series. And that wraps up your Monday sports page. Simon Bugs, CTV Sports.
All right, now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly clear out. Tomorrow will be sunny with some hazy skies. It'll be 83 degrees. Wednesday, it's going to be sunny and we'll have a high of 87, a low of 66. Thursday will be just as nice when we reach a high of 89.
And for our community calendar this Wednesday, the Rainbow History Project will be at the Marietta House Museum. The Rainbow History Project is a DC-based organization that works to collect, preserve, and promote local LGBTQ+ history. This event takes place from noon to 1. For more information, contact 301-464-5291.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.
Experience a golden era of music with Motown Explosion at the Bowie Center for Performing Arts. Sunday, June 8th. Doors open at 2 p.m. For tickets, visit bowiecenter.org or call 805-6880.